Heyo, I'm back. How are you guys? It's been a time, hasn't it? Um, so I'm gonna jump into some math, of course, right? But I just wanted to say to all of my students out there, hi, I miss you. I hope you're okay. This is crazy. Crazy. Um, I totally get if your head is not in the space to do math or like anything. Um, for me personally, math is like it just helps me sort this. Um, in a time I would normally go into art, like I love art, and it would be what I would like, how I would work through this. But honestly, that just feels, it doesn't feel like it'll help my spirit in this weird time. So, but numbers do, especially given what's going on. So I'm gonna, if you want to do this and you want to keep up, and for parents who are playing along at home, absolutely. If as my students, if you want to just follow the numbers of different things going on in our state or whatever, you can just email me and tell me if there's something you're thinking about that you'd rather do. I'm open to that. But as we are churning through some of our more elementary lessons to get to algebra, I need to remind you, now we could have whole long lessons on adding and we could have whole long lessons on everything that we're doing. So we've gone over adding and subtracting, and now we're going to go quickly over multiplication. And if you're in my classes, you've done this 1,000 times. Maybe. This is a new mug. I got this when I went to Mount Whitney. I didn't get the one that said I climbed Mount Whitney because we got very close to the summit, but the ice was melting so fast and it was really dangerous that I was like, yeah, I don't want to go. Okay. So I'm going to try to keep this. I'm looking at I'm in 2 minutes in. I'm going to try to go real fast. So we talked about adding. Let's talk about multiplication, okay? Because it's this idea. Yeah, if you could shut that, thanks, buddy. I don't like this thing that people call PEMDAS, but it is. We're gonna use it. This is better, but I like to say PIMA. That's the most accurate in terms of order of operation. But the thing is like teachers get kids to memorize this, and I have a fundamental problem with that. I get that there's a part of our brains that memorizing, even if you don't understand it, but I do believe that this actually makes sense. And I do actually believe that you should never push a child to figure out what multiplication is unless they know what adding is. Period. But the problem is we just accelerate everything so all the time, right? And anyway, can't. All right. Okay, so we talked about adding. Well, the reason why multiplication is more powerful than adding, subtracting, multiplication, division, is because of the fact that multiplication is adding. It's batched adding, right? So let's just talk about this. If I do 3 plus 2, okay, I get what? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I combine those things, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then when I do that, I remember that symbol, right? This symbol looks a little, can you see that okay? 5. It's looking slanty in my picture. Thanks, Mr. Rogers. And we're kind of done. But again, as budding mathematicians, we're always looking for patterns. Pattern. So we go, well, what happens if I add itself? And we talked about this a little bit in a different video, right? So I'm going to say 3 plus 3. Well, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? I mean, because if you know how to count, you can do anything. I have said this so many times to students, and I don't mean this to be, like, some of them take it as I'm disparaging them. If you know how to count, you can do all mathematics. If you memorize the symbols, you can do it, anything. Okay, 3 and 3 is 6, right? Well, then we go, okay, well, what about 3 plus 3 plus 3? And we could keep going with our dots, and we would get 9, right? And then we would say, well, what about 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3? 12. We could just keep going, right? But the thing is, we're looking for, wait for it, I know you know, what are we looking for in mathematics? Patterns. This COVID-19 is following pretty strict patterns. We have to do our part to get it to follow a pattern we want. If we didn't do our stay at home, the pattern it would follow would eventually destroy humanity. I mean, this is true. You don't have to like freak out when I say that, because we are making measures. We are pushing back against the COVID, as I said in a different video, playing hide and seek. And that changes the pattern. That action puts it into a different realm that we can also predict. Okay, but so if we keep writing this, do I want to write +3, +3, +3, +3, blah, blah, blah? No. So what do I say as a person? As a mathematician, I'm discussing with my friends, hey, let's not keep writing out. We know we're going to add 3 every time. So let's use a different symbol. Instead of this symbol, I'm going to say I added 3 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I added 3 5 times. So 3 and 5 is 15, but I can't use this symbol anymore, can I? Oops, let's get this up. I can't use this symbol. So what teachers and people did is they turned the symbol on its side. 3 times 5 is 15. Now, as you get higher up in mathematics, you realize magically one day, and I remember when this happening to me, I'm like, when did the X become a dot? And even this gets taken over. Multiplication gets taken over by other symbols because we just need symbols. So this now means times. I am adding 3 to itself 5 times. Okay? That's where a multiplication table comes in. And everyone should fill one out. Okay? So for my students, when I post this lesson, I'm going to link it with just a little grid. And if you can fill it out, great. And if you can't, maybe you can do an online version. Everyone should just count out a multiplication table. If you can count, you can do all math. But it's really helpful if you memorize, I've said this before, to 10s at least by age 10, to 12s by age 12, and to 15s is useful in high school. It just is. If you know those things, it makes it just, I mean, think of something you're confident about, right? Anything. Why are you confident in that? Why do you confidently talk about it or show someone? Is it basketball? Is it talking about poetry? What is it that you're confident in? Is it running? Is it baking cookies? There's something that you can do that you know how to do pretty well. Why are you confident in it? It's because you have all this background, I would say. I mean, maybe you answered it differently yourself. When you memorize the times tables, or you're really memorizing counting tables, right? You're building that counting confidence, and the numbers come. And so many things just come. And a lot of people want to tell you to use a calculator. Don't. Not until you know what's going on. Anyway, I'm at 9 minutes, so have a safe day, everyone. Till next time, happy math. Stay safe.